This morning's live. Hold on just one second. Let me turn down Bloomberg in the background because I can't stand listening to the noise on it. I just like to see the information that's going across. But as we get going here onto the Sunday morning live, and we're just about 8 hours or so from the futures market opening. The weekly candle closes tonight, as we know, at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So it's going to be a very important close. If you're in the Telegram, last night I just posted about how XRP should be the start of a reversal, and we should head up plus $3.30. It was at $2.95 when I posted that. The reason I did that is because in the fractal, it shows a move up, and we hit the support at 295 or 296 area, pulled back up, kept that $3 intact, didn't have to push down to that $2.85 mark, which we'll talk about that area as well. While that could have been an area of importance and still could be if we don't push out. I want to go over ZBCN because it did have a nice little push up here. And now we're looking for a clear out back test because it came up to resistance. And I don't know where it's going to clear out to. But if this gets right, because the weekly so oversold, I'm going to show you like an opportunity. Or the weekly is so overblown and oversold and breaking bullish that now the daily, it is very overbought in the daily. The smaller time frames like the 4 hourly with this nice push up here in the last day or so. 2 days from... Well, I mean, even going back to Monday, it had a nice push up to resistance. Two things are going to happen. One, it's just going to break over this and then back test it. Or two, we're going to get a small correction here, nothing crazy. And it would clear out this RSI, how it started to, or the stochastic, how it started to come from 468. Now we're back to 452. It's not a crazy drop, but you could see a scenario here now for ZBCN where we do get the resistance here. And because the apex is back here somewhere around the end of October, this is where we could try to figure out this pattern. Not us, but the pattern could figure out itself. And you could find yourself now squeezing, and as this plays out, it's going to try to find a structure, and then it's just going to burst. It just, typically when it's this oversold or overbought in the 4 hourly, daily, it'll shake itself out to catch up to the conditions in the weekly. So it's going to be interesting here. It's going to be very interesting here if this just breaks out, because it is so overbought in these time frames. I'll be watching this for the start of the week, for sure. I don't want to influence anybody on what to do, so we're just going to watch it, and we're going to see. I would say that it would be a need for a little correction here. But once that meets the conditions as the higher time frames, I think there's going to be a big blow off the top there more than likely. So Linnea, touch on this real quickly, and then we'll go back into it later. Pushed itself over the top, but as we talked about, that would be an early breakout because it has to confirm the breakout. As of yet, this is a little high. I don't know why it's way up there. We got to make sure this is accurate because it should be on the support structure right now as we speak. It shouldn't have been below. On my phone, it was on the support structure. Let's see what's going on here in the 2 hourly. Oh, 2 hourly would be over the top. But I feel like we did that not like that. I think we went to the wick. Yeah, that's what we did in the 4. Middle of the body to the top wick. That's exactly probably what we did. But yeah, that's what we did. Because we're inside of this little broadening wedge. That's exactly why it was on the structure in my phone. Because I went from the top. Right from the middle. That's exactly what it is. That makes more sense. I was going to say, it doesn't make any sense to have it on the candle after. But to put it through the body of where this candle pulled. And then to start coming through the resistance. And then we got the resistance top. I like that a lot better. Now, you could come down a little lower if you want to start it farther. Like, you could start it here and go resistance, tap this part. But I do like it from here because this is where it had the problem. Came back up and got rejected, and then it just never has been able to come over. Finally came over here. Now we'll see if it can hold the backside. I don't hate that at all. At all. And now it could be lower. It could be lower because if you start to come out here and then you play it like this, but that to me that doesn't make sense. That just is trying to fit a different setup, which it doesn't make sense. So I think that makes the most sense. Through the middle of that candle. Whoops. Yes, it has to be precise, otherwise you start to miss the back test. So yeah, see, even I had it messed up a little bit. Not, I mean, it's basically hit it, because on my phone it hit it. That's why it didn't look right. That looks right now. That's right. So, we'll see on Linea if it breaks out here, or if it has to do a further move. But this is the back test we were waiting for patiently after the breakout, because we talked about it over here. Back, breakout, back test, which still brings you back in the area of over here. It's not like it changed, but it's on the outside of the short term. If it can get on top of here, you can go up to 4-1. The problem here with Linea, and I'll be the first one to say it, October 10th, I've been saying it for the last several days. On October 10th, we have a 1.08 billion token unlock. And that is going to be pretty interesting. Seeing that the token just started being tradable on September 1st, to have that big of an unlock, you know, 35 days later, it's big. And now it's only 5 days away. So, but good morning, everybody. I appreciate everybody tuning in. On this Sunday morning, I know in the crypto space, it's been consolidating for a while, but we are getting closer to our breaking point. For everybody who stayed consistent, that's paying attention, that is actually staying in the loop and wants to evolve in the, you know, in the bearish consolidations and the accumulations, that's going to pay you dividends when we get towards mid-November and the next part of this. I haven't sugarcoated it. I've been aiming towards mid-November for a long time for this next push. It doesn't mean that's when it's going to fully start, or it doesn't mean that you have to wait until then. Because as you see, we're starting to go up a little bit here in October. But typically, after we get this consolidation and downward in September, we get into October, and it's not necessarily going to go parabolic, but it does set the stage for that mid-November to end of the year run. And as you know, with tax harvesting and different ways that different institutions and the higher investors trade, it makes a lot of sense at the end of the year to have these little rallies. And then by Christmas time, you know, everybody's expecting the Christmas rally, and that's where they like to take liquidity while we're opening our presents from the retail. So we may be opening presents, but our portfolio generally drops 10 to 20% while we're doing so during that day. And then it recovers into January, so it's nothing to worry about, but that's the way it goes. Bitcoin is doing exactly what we anticipated. Came over 115 to come back, test the 126. And it's unfortunate that it did it overnight it didn't hit it exactly, but it's unfortunate that a lot of this always happens when we're sleeping in the USA. What's not unfortunate is Michigan won yesterday. The Tigers stole game 1 in Seattle. So it's an interesting time to be alive in Detroit, seeing that the Tigers haven't won a World Series since I was 5 months old, and I'll be 42 in December, 6 months old. I was born in 83. They won it in the summer of 84, but I was born in December of 83. So, you know. But for XRP, Bitcoin, because it's happened when it did, I like to see this pullback this morning. I do. I won't even sugarcoat it. This is a nice pullback to start to clear us out in the smaller time frames. The problem is here now, because we're outside of the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, is all of this for naught on a Saturday, and it's just going to come right back down? That is a question we would have to ask ourselves, but we're not far outside of where we closed on Friday. See, that's the thing with like XRP. We're not far outside of where we closed. We may have had a down day a little bit on the initial part after Friday, but literally, I believe we closed Friday. This is the beauty of this. We closed up here. So when the market closed, we were at about $3 on Friday. Then Saturday is when it took the dip down to 294. So we're right back where we need to be for XRP. So don't get caught up with the CME on XRP. We are identical right now to where we closed on Friday and put a V shape over the weekend. That's the little dip we were expecting. We didn't know if it'd go to 285 or 296 area, but it certainly, this is a good sign To me, this is a good sign. We came down over the weekend and back tested this area perfectly. Came back up, and now we could be back testing the breakout. This could validate a retake of that breakdown and a retake of the bullish side of it. If that's the case, yes, the fractal leads us up to 338, I believe it is, which I'll just say 330 until we push past that area. But the target here is a little bit nicer. We got to go from like the apex point here, but it's in the 370-ish range, 380. It's a beautiful push if it happens. And then if you start looking at the other charts, you know, we're trying to push past out of the demand zone. You see how close we are? That's my demand zone. Then you're back in the discovery area. Yeah, we haven't got into all-time highs, but anything out of this zone, we don't go here often. Like if you go into the history, we never come outside of here and stay outside of here. That's why I think it's a discovery zone of the epic proportion. And then like I like distribution in the middle. A lot of people like it at the top, but this isn't for the wick off. This is just how I look at it, as the way it's been looking. Now, I do have it set up in a wick off style for all time pattern or just in the moment. And I know it's not like the generic wick off, but I'm just putting it in movement waves. So as you can see how we went through movements, 1 to 2 did it fine. 2 to 3, I don't know. But these are just small waves that it's doing. This hasn't nothing to do with the official wick off. It's just, hey, we've been doing it in waves. And it's either going to do it in a gigantic movement here, how we've been doing it, and we're just going to continue to evolve this, which we know now that this actually came to here. And as of right now, it actually pulled back here some. So that's what we have the evidence for, you know, when we went forward. 3, we didn't know where it was going to go, but it ended up going here. We didn't know where. So when you look at this, it did set up in a similar fashion. And this isn't to have a identical to a wick off. This is to show you movements and how it's playing out. If this plays out like this, there's no reason why we can't get the $6.34 or 39 like we've been talking about since day one of this breakout. Even before. This pushed us to 550, which is so incredibly important. I can't even explain how important this would be, that movement. Just incredible how this is all tying together now. But that movement is so incredibly important. I mean, this is over the top. This is more set up for how we had in that 7-year consolidation from January of 18, breakout November of 24. We had this set up for years. Like, this has been set up, so if you're new, I know it might look weird. But this has been set up for us to watch the guideline. So that target of 549 perfectly aligns with that push up to 550. And then ultimately tapping out around 639. And that's not the all-time movement. That's just for this pattern setup. But yeah, that's a big part of what we're looking at today. Another big part is the human psyche right now. Same thing I've seen in past cycles, which I know we're getting closer. What ends up happening is most people, even if they love crypto, they just hit a wall. They hit a wall. And they leave. They stop paying attention. And then all of a sudden, they look around and they're like, well, wait a minute. I thought everything was dropping. I thought XRP was at the... And then before they know it, they start seeing $4 and $5. And then they start to get back into it towards that last 15, 20% of the move. Now they're sitting there again at $5, $6 just to watch it go right back down and back test all-time highs at 350. And now they're once again down 30% and calling it the biggest pile of shit that never moves. You know, so I'm seeing the exact same human psyche I seen before. I see less interest in the crypto sphere overall when it comes to participation. And I see more of the not so sure. But I also see a lot more of people that were buying when it would go up to 350, 340, 330, and when it comes to 269 being afraid. That's what I want to see. You want to see stuff like this. You want to see the buyers that were so willing to buy it higher start to not pay attention as it comes lower. But we're still way high, obviously, from where we started. But we're starting to end up pushing ourselves in a very interesting scenario now, which is this is what I've been waiting for, this spot. So we can see, I love when the pumpkins come out, as you all know. Because, yes, it doesn't mean we're going up right away, but it means we're getting close. And it means we're going to correct some of it. And some of that red is going to start to disappear. That doesn't mean we're not going to have another drop after some pushes up. Last year, what happened in October, and why just talk about it? Let's go back 1 year from now. Good morning. I mean, go back in the past 1 year from today. Good morning. 9:55 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Sunday, October 5th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. So, 1 year ago, let's see what chart would be the easiest to see this for 1 year ago. Oh, let's just go on the chart that matters the most. The one that teaches us it all. So 1 year ago, November, we had the pumpkins come out. So let's go to October. Right here, October 5th. Right here on a Saturday. Was back testing 1 year ago today. The 7-year pattern breakout. That started in January of 2018. As we went to parabolic heights, not seen until late 24 and then 25. And then we broke out November of 24. If you're watching right now, 34 likes, 76 viewers, about 40% of you have hit the like button. If that's all this information is worth, I think we need to do some soul searching. But anyhow, last year, 1 year ago at this time, we were back testing the breakout. It was sitting at 53 cents. Remember, we pulled all the way back down, and it wasn't a huge pull down, into the end of August, back down to 48, to push back up to 52.7 for one last drop in the beginning of November, just about 49 cents, and then the rest is history. So look what we're doing right now. I believe we're likely probably in the same consolidation. Now, will it come down farther? Will it go up first? It looks like it's going to do the everything into anything. But now we're doing another consolidation 1 year later. I mean, think about this. For anybody who comes in day after day, the price never moves or comments or has that psyche like we can never get ahead. 1 year ago, it's very easy to go back in the pattern if you go. 1 year ago today, we know we're at 48 cents, 52 cents. We'll just do it from around 50. So in 1 year's time frame, just from buying it 1 year ago, nothing special. We're not talking 34 cents. We're just talking 1 year ago today. You're up 500% in 1 year. You did a 5-bagger in exactly 1 year. And then people are asking me, Tom, XRP Future Millionaire, if we missed out here, why is it different here? Well, the difference is a 5x move. For one, you're paying 5 times more. Two, the upside to get to where we were trying to go from here, way up here. The upside is still up here, but it's a difference of upside. You're looking at about a 1x in today's terms to finish off this target. Nah, a little bit more than that. If we finish it off perfectly, you're looking at about 113% is what your upside is from here, right? So if you buy it from there, if you would have bought it here 1 year ago, however, which was what was making us so excited. See, this isn't from 38 cents, or 34 where I bought it. This is from 1 year ago. Your differential is, you're looking at, you see the difference, 1,178%. Instead of 117%, or 100% instead of 1,000%. So when I say it's not the same, it's not the same. It's a 10 times difference. Oh, I'll be ecstatic. I'll be thrilled if we're up 11 or 12x. The person up 1x is going to say, I didn't buy it for it to go up 1x. I'm not selling it. While we're sitting there going, okay. We're up almost 1,200% from 1 year ago. Cumulatively, I mean, from 34 cents, that's more than that. But from just 1 year ago, If it gets up there, you're going to have to think about it, because now it starts to come into the fact, would you break back down to 350? Would you even care about selling anything? You know, that's where you have to have soul searching again. But right now, we all need to do a little soul searching on why we're not more adamant about what's going on here. Is it because we want $10,000 a token? Is that the problem? Is that the problem because everybody wants me to say it's going to 100 this cycle, and when I say 648, everybody leaves? Because this morning, right when I mentioned that number, it went from 95 people to 62, and now we've worked our way back up to 94. So are my numbers just not good enough? Like, I believe that's the problem, because I went through the same thing in 2021. Into 23, everybody left because they weren't happy with what I was saying, and then they all came back when it was too late. Like, are we going to play that same Russian roulette again? Like, 90% of the people are just going to ignore what I have to say, or ignore our community, and then all of a sudden, everybody's just going to come rushing back in when it's too late, and then get pissed off at us again when we say we're not buying here. In fact, we might be selling it. Like, is that what's going to happen again? I think so. So what I'm going to do, not so much focus on XRP 100%, which we're going to keep our focus on for a lot of this live, but I also want to make sure we don't lose our focus on XDC. Because XDC is absolutely in the midst of something pretty dynamic here. And we're still working off of a pattern formation that has not broken out yet in a long time. This has been going on since 21, got another hit in 25. We put this short term because we had nothing to go on. We needed to know when we were going to break out of this consolidation way down lower that started in 21 as well. But this is the only way you could get back up and hit a resistance. Eventually, when this breaks out, you're buying XDC right now. Man, it's so weird how this is set up, because technically you'd be buying this like XRP when XRP, let's see. So XRP, I mean, to me, this would be the equivalent of buying XRP. Just think about it. We're about 5x away from that target going up, but it's basically buying XRP at 35 cents. Or let's just put it this way. To buy XDC at 7.5 cents is like XRP at 50 cents. That is the equivalent of where it's at. So I put a lot of stock on it. I have over 100,000 tokens of XDC, and I'm looking to go to 200 if it gives me an opportunity at 5.5 or 5.7. I don't know if it's going to. Now that we're into October, the closer we get to November, the less opportunity there's going to be. The shaking that happens at the highest level in crypto is in September. The tree that shakes in October doesn't generally shake deeper to a bigger margin. It can go down farther than the lows of September, but it generally doesn't become larger than the totality of from the high point to the low point of September. You generally don't have a bigger drop than September. Now you can go to lower numbers because you don't recover high enough by that drop in October, but it's not going to be a bigger drop than we've seen in September. So my point is it would be unusual to see a bigger drop in October than we've seen in September. So that means, you know, the time is wearing out. Like, we still have a weekly golden cross here that has not even been close to invalidated on XDC. In that same weekly, we've not only had the 20 cross the 200, we've had the 50 cross the 200, and the 100 now cross the 200 and hold for some time. We've created an inverse setup, and we're basically in the consolidation phase of the big breakout that should get us up to a third hit in time near that 14 cent mark. Once that 14 cent gives way, it's going up to 30. It'll go up to 30. It's just going to have to break past 19, 20, but its eyes are 30 and then ultimately 36. So imagine buying XDC at 7.5 or starting to get in at 36. That would be the same thing as not buying XRP at 50 1 year ago and buying it 1 year later at $3. So not buying XDC at 7.5, maybe 1 year later, you might be buying it at 36. It might not be in that time, but I'm just saying, you understand what I'm trying to say here. Would it have been better to buy with us at 2.8? You better fucking believe it. But were the ones who didn't buy XRP at 28 mad that they bought it at 60? No. Or were the ones that didn't buy it at 34 mad that they have it at 85 cents right now? Absolutely not. They're fucking stoked. They're sitting at an $8,500 purchase on 10,000 tokens, and they're sitting at 30 fucking thousand, and they're still waiting on the consolidation. They're not mad at all. At all. So use that same logic. XDC is cheap. Dirt cheap. But because you waited, you might have to buy it more expensive. And then it gives you more downside risk. But the good news is you're doing some research. The bad news is the daily is where it's at. That's the bad news right now. So I'm just saying this in the pure terms. Remember I said I hope we get a better chance at 5.3 so I can even more expand this portfolio. I don't want to do it at 7.5. I want to do it at 5.3 if it comes down there. It's a reason. So we'll see what happens though. The closer we get, like I always say, the closer we get to November is where we got to see this opportunity start to put forward. Like XRP, that daily time frame to me, with how it looks, and yes, I've been saying I think we're going to go up to 330 soon, but that daily time frame is leaving something to be desired. 4 hourly's got plenty of room. So we very well should bounce off of here at some point, and maybe that back test in the daily when we have to clear out is going to be farther up and a move back down a little bit. But we have to pay attention here because if we break 298, expect, hear it again, hear what I'm saying, expect, if we break below 298, again, what are we doing? We're expecting, if we break below 298, expect a retap somewhere down 280. Expect it. Especially if we lose 288, or I mean 286, 285, but expect it if we don't hold the consolidation. But understand that from Friday, where the CME closed, Chicago Mercantile Exchange, the drop happened after the close. So we are exactly where we were Friday on the close on the CME. And we went down to tap the support of this structure. Now we're back to, that's why I keep saying if this holds, we're going right up to 330. It's not, there won't be anything between. If it doesn't, we could go to 285 before that push to 330. Either way, that fractal is speaking of a move up to 330 plus, unless we invalidate this and we come down below, like, I mean, if we come below 285, it could invalidate that thesis. So, I mean, that is something. That is something. So, I mean, on a Sunday, a lot of information here. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on. It's not just, hey, let's disappear for 7 weeks or 3 months and then come back and think we're going to be in the grace of the pattern, because we're not. We're going to be outside of it, and that's what we don't. I don't want to be outside the pattern. I want to be very much within, so I can see every single movement that's taking place in real time. I don't want to come back and be like, what happened? How did we miss? Let me say hi to some of you. Appreciate everybody tuning in. 98 people watching, 59 likes, so 40 people still have not hit the like button. I mean, 59 is 59. 59 is 59. I'm very interested in ZBEC. As we said, I think it's going to have a little bit of a down because it was so overbought in all these time frames. I think it's going to catch up to the weekly. I hope it catches up to the weekly. See how this is clearing out in the 30? Look at the weekly. And I'm not saying we have to go to oversold in the daily or anything like that. What I would like to see for the daily is just to clear out a little bit. It doesn't even need to clear much. Come back down to 79. Maybe come to 50. Just clear out some to give us that next inertia point. Because it has had a nice movement. We had nice volume pushing in. Maybe it's the 4 hourly that gives us a little bit of leverage here. And it just needs to maybe it comes up and it back tests. And it clears it out at 4 or 5. See, this is what we don't know. This is why it gets very interesting. But it definitely needed to clear out some in the smaller time frames. Use this as kind of an example. We came up, we came over. The difference is, though, when this came over, so we could still do this with ZBEC. See how it's over the top? And it's clearing it out in the consolidation zone. Now, if we can get back to mid-tier, which we're getting close in the 4 hourly, that could give us enough strength here to push out at 2.7. This is where you pay attention, but understand that we have that October 10th dumping. So just watch it in the moment. ZBEC's down about 1% since we started. Nothing major, but it is clearing out some of the steam. It is clearing out some of the steam. Dan Marginal, good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your third month with the XRP Meteor, 3 months plus. I appreciate that, my friend. Mark, good morning. Karim, welcome in, and thanks for joining Tom's Army for your first month, or Karim, for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. That is so awesome to see that this morning. Hasn't been often I've been seeing the new badges, so I really appreciate you paying it forward this month. I really do appreciate it, and welcome, my friend. Hopefully you're in the Telegram. I really, really appreciate that. Defined, welcome in along with Crypto Cooter. Thank you both for being very trusted mods in here and in the Telegram, and both in Tom's Army for 6+ months with the XP Predictor. Defined says, hey everyone, hit that like on the way in. Consider subscribing and joining Tom's Army for the best technical analysis on YouTube. If you are not in the Telegram, you are missing out. I 100% agree with that. I do agree with that. Our Big House newsletter will be out shortly, and there should be some good stuff in there today. Very good stuff. If you're in the Telegram, every Sunday morning, you get another newsletter. I think we're on episode or number 10 now, believe it or not. And there's just a lot of information in there. The Telegram, if you're a fan of this community, a fan of crypto, and if you're in Tom's Army and paying it forward, you get the Telegram to communicate with each other. All my content's free, but the Telegram I tried to put out for free for years, and I had to revamp it because there was too many scammers. Then this time around, once we got to 370 members in the Telegram, it was happening too rampant, so I had to make it for just the paid members of Tom's Army. So if you're in the Telegram, continue renewing in Tom's Army. I know that most of you haven't, because only half of the people in Tom's Army are even the amount that we have in Tom's Army now. Well, less than that, like 40%. So we're losing members, over 10% this month. So don't steal information. You know, don't hoard the information, but pay it forward. Consider the time I put in for all of you since March 24th of 2021. I don't think it's a lot to ask. I'm probably the only person on my size with my content that doesn't put anything behind a paywall, so be appreciative. And I don't hide behind sponsorships where you got to watch a sponsorship 70% of the moment when I'm on. I'm not talking about some bullshit. I also don't even put ads on during the live itself. So YouTube super chats are almost non-existent. The members of Tom's Army, the ones in Tom's Army, are very supportive, but they fall off some. But we have a very supportive group. But just understand the pay for that could mean hit the like button. It could just mean hit the like button and share this so I can get new eyes on people who might actually pay it forward from a monetary point, but also from a communical point as well. We need information. It's not all about the monetary value. That's why I keep it. We need information. So some people are simply missing out because we're not hitting the like button and they're not sharing it on YouTube. Simple. It's simple stuff. When you deal with AI and analytics and an AI integration, you have to conform to the AI. If we don't conform to it, we're going to continue to not be able to expand our audience. I would love to expand farther. 47,000 is something, but I would like to have 470,000. I think that's when the real voice is made. If you can stay true to yourself, though, if you don't get bought out. So we'll see one day. Am I going to come on here and do all these sponsorships, or am I going to be just like this? Mark Korf, good morning. Mike Izzo, Nickel Trick, Cats and Cod, Grey Paw, good morning. UK Phil, Mosey here, and Jorge, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge, along with Rapid Freedom as well. Love it. Thank you all so much. Jorge, thanks for being a very trusted mod in here and in the Telegram as well. Let's see. Mr. Stott, welcome in and good morning to you, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for 3+ months with the XRP Meteor. John Hall, good morning, brother. Keith Morgan, Frankie Fresh, thank you so much for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XRP Predictor. The Yankees just game 1 yesterday. You wouldn't expect them to win game 1 on the road like the Tigers did. But yeah, James Franklin should be fired tomorrow morning. That's just my opinion. The guy should be fired. You can't lose to winless UCLA and an interim head coach. Can't happen. Not as the number 7 team in the country. But we all knew they were overrated. I've been saying it since the beginning of the year. But yeah, no, he should be fired Monday morning. I would fire him. If I was a Penn State fan, I've had enough of him. I know he's done a decent job, but he never wins the big game. Even last year in the playoff, he played two subpar teams that shouldn't even have been there. Congratulations, but they shouldn't have been there. Don Jackson, it was pretty interesting that they lost, though, wasn't it, my friend? Lay Universal, and I'm sorry if there's any Penn State fans out there, but it's the truth. You should want better. You deserve better. There's too much talent there to be losing the fucking winless UCLA. Lay Universal, good morning. Garbanzo, welcome in along with Shane. Thank you all so much for being in Tom's Army for 3 months plus with the XRP Meteor. Love it. Thank you all so much. Is silver still a good buy at 50? And what you think on XDC right now? I talked about XDC. I know you've seen that now because that was from 20 minutes ago. Silver's, you're going to get pullbacks, but do you think here's the best way to put it for gold and silver. No, it's not at $16 like I was begging the audience to buy it back in 22. No, gold's not at $1,600. No, the miners aren't 150% cheaper. That's past us. But what hasn't passed us is high times of inflation, the U.S. dollar to be further devalued. So, no, I don't think it's a bad time. Now, can you find yourself down 10%? Sure. But do you think the dollar is going to appreciate or depreciate? And you got your answer. Is the gold-silver ratio still at 80.9? Absolutely. Historically, it's supposed to be around 5-1. In more recent terms, 20-1. But it's at 80-1. So, yeah, it's completely, extremely undervalued. But at 50, 55, you should expect some kind of consolidation. Dolly Varden, back on the table. I know I took profits out of it, but I might make a deeper investment now because after doing deeper research, as I promised the audience I would over the weekend, because I didn't want to keep it on the list until I had a profound understanding of what these common shares were. So basically, and yeah, it's come down since we talked about it because it was at $5.10 or whatever when we talked about putting it on hold to see what was going on. And it's come down some, so you're actually getting a better deal here. And the reason why I wanted to just briefly mention this is, yeah, we've had a little bit of a come down here since those common shares were announced. And you all know I took some profit once I found out about it because I'm like, you know what? I don't know what this means. So now, from what I've read, and not just read, but into the company's actual main script, it can be up to 13% of common shares that can be offered, but they're not giving a single share under $6.50. And this is for capital purposes for acquisition. So this is actually a good thing. So we just need to look at where the best exploration of capital could be. It very well could open Monday morning higher. But if it continues the shakeout into Monday morning, I would say don't be afraid of it. You might get something like 427. You might get something like 427 if the optics, like with the First Majestic, just like Fortuna Silver Mines and Pan America Silver, when they had these acquisitions, same thing happened. We would get a dump down of 20, 25, 30%, but instead of running away, we ran forward. Instead of jogging away, we ran back. And we said, listen, there's a reason for this. So maybe you do come down here. What is this? $4.30. Maybe we come into this area. But I promise you, this was actually a good thing that they did. And I promised that I would do my research because initially common shares never looks good. So I took it off the board for new buyers. But I'm putting it back on because it's for $6.50. And this is a expansion. This is for expansion. It's not because of a contraction obligation. So this is a good thing. And it's good that they're putting them valued at $6.50. They're coming out and saying we're undervalued by putting the price at $6.50. Now just remember 13.2% of the float, though, of their total outstanding common shares, or the totality of their shares they have, can be put into this deal. Right now only 4.3% has. So if 13% of their total float is up at $6.50, what does that mean for the price? It's not like they said 13%. You often see common shares being offered 30% cheaper by companies. This is very similar to what Silver Corp did. How they offered They bought back, but above, because they said the price was too cheap. They bought back a certain percentage. So this is a good thing. That's a good thing. Now you could see price drop to 430, but it's a good thing. If you start to see it drop down, it's going to be a good capitalization. Silver Corp right now is still amongst the most undervalued at $7, believe it or not. Even though we were buying it at 425, 450, but it's still undervalued. I'm sorry 10% of my audience left during precious metals, but 10% more might leave when I go back to it. So it's just what it is. And honestly, I can't. I used to worry about that. I would stop covering the metals, but you know what I started to realize? Why penalize the ones who care? I'm not going to penalize the ones who care anymore. I'm just going to, like I said before, I'm just doing this the way I think it needs to be done. And the audience is going to shake itself out, and it's going to shake itself up when the time is right. But don't be the group that asked me on precious metals, now, is it a good buy? Don't be the group on crypto that says, is it a good buy after it's up 700%? I get so many people asking me about XRP, but it's up 700% from where I bought it. Like, excuse me, or 800% from where so it's hard for me to say, yeah, buy it here. It's up 500% from 1 year ago today. And if you didn't watch from the beginning, go back. It's vital. It's vital. And if you want to talk about something that's very undervalued that everybody shits on all the time, like they used to do with XRP, like I got a question in the Telegram that said, or somebody made a statement that said, Tom has been talking about how people are hating on XRP, but I'm just not seeing it. No, you're not seeing it now. You were seeing it when XRP was at 30, 40, 50, 80 cents when it was the most realistic time to buy. Everybody loves it. Now it's over $3. You're getting that same hate for something like Algo. That's in the exact, maybe I need to put it blue. Maybe this would help. I think I know the problem. It's the wrong color. Right? It's the wrong color. That's all. We'll act like it's the wrong color. Remember XRP? We made it blue. That's what the problem is. It's not blue. And then we made it bigger, remember, so everybody could see it when we were in the consolidation. I think that's the problem. So, small jokes. But Algo, you should recognize this pattern. Up, hump, back around. This is just like what XRP did. And this is going from 2019, you had a hit. Then you had another hit in 21. And now it's been 4 years. 4 years of consolidation. The apex is in next year. About 1 year from now is close to the apex. So do you want to buy it when it's in the bottom range from here down? And yeah, it sucks. It's not down here anymore, right? And it sucks. But the uptrend is at 13, maybe even higher now, because let's be honest, we actually did this. So if you want to be honest and realistic about the uptrend, yeah, you can drag it to 13, but it's actually right around 16, 16.5. Some people are like, whenever I get like this, like, well, who made him mad? It's not about being mad. This is about being precise. This is about trying to have the information so point blank in your face that you can't even slap yourself to ask the question if this is real or not. Because this is the real now. This is the real stuff. If it loses 16.9, let's just say for whatever reason, then the downside potential becomes 9.4. Do I think that's going to happen? No. And I say that because we've hit 3 times on the bottom. And now we're starting the contraction up. The cool thing about contraction up is you can start to measure it. But right now, these are the moments. A breakdown from here, you go to 16.9. But it's not that simple. We created more evidence, right? When evidence is given, don't ignore the evidence. We didn't know the evidence. We didn't see the evidence. You were seeing the evidence now. We can see this pattern, how it's starting to consolidate. So we're trying to get up over the top here. But Algo is absolutely in that same premise of buying XRP at 35 or 40 cents right now. 100%. If it went to 9.4, that would have been the equivalent of buying XRP at 5 cents or 10 cents. It's just that simple. So, and a lot of people hate Algo, and I understand. I don't. What? You can't fall asleep. We're supposed to have our time when you leave. Well, I'm almost done. Is it because of me, or is he just tired? I wonder if I'm making my son shake his head. I'm gonna take my well, I forgot to take this. I've been holding it in my hand since I started this live, apparently. Yeah, these are just like my amino acids. So, cheers, everybody. And I like to take it in like a. These are like a not kind of like a powdery. But you don't need to take water with it, so I like these a lot. You can also use that as a pre-workout because there's 100 milligrams of caffeine. It's natural caffeine, or coming from sources of like plants and stuff, but or the cocoa or the. You guys know what I'm talking about. Let's see. Yeah, to put it in perspective, everybody, I've never seen silver this high in my lifetime. We broke the 1980 mark. So I was born in 83. I've never seen silver this high. I don't believe. Because 2011 did not, I don't believe it quite hit this high. Shane, have a blessed visit to the church, my friend. It's always awesome to see that on this most holy of days. Don't forget to give thanks to your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, Yahweh, Yeshua, your higher power, God himself. As we say a lot of times in this community, we have a lot of different spiritualities, a lot of different people. Some praise Allah, some are, we've got Buddha, we've got a lot of different people in this culture. Because I'm out in like 70 different countries now. So be respectful, but understand we're all praying to a higher power. And if done right, we're all praying for abundance for all. And the bettering of each other. So, we have a special community here. 95 people here. See, this is what makes me blessed. Because talking about like how the mindset is shifting for the general retail, and they're getting a little... I'm telling you that when this kind of stuff happens, this is when we start to go bullish. I mean, we can still have these downs, but we're starting to get to that narrative like last year. We're starting to get to that same narrative. Man, do I want to see ZBet clear that out one last time. The fine, not bad from the other day so far. From the last couple days. This is exactly what we wanted to see. Remember when we were talking about it defined in the Telegram, we said the problem with it is you can watch it go all the way over the top, and then the back test is legitimately still in the same area. So this is the consolidation in here to buy it. If you're buying it for this next breakout, you got to buy it in this consolidation. Otherwise, or you're waiting for a further breakdown. But if you buy it after the breakout, the weekly is so magnificently oversold. This is beauty. That weekly is so significantly oversold. It's legitimately now going to wait for the right capitalization for the next big move. I don't know if it's going to break out over the top and hold at some point and then clear out. But it does seem to suggest this morning we should be clearing out a little bit. And if it does, the best thing that could happen for this pattern, and I know people would get pissed. Whoops. The best thing that could happen for this pattern. Man, that push down. I hate how that does that. I wish TradingView would quit doing all these updates and put it back to how it was. Because it's driving me nuts. Because everything is moving on me. And then they keep changing all the stuff. So it makes it slightly different when you're using all the features. So then when you get used to something for so long, yeah, you get the picture. So it's not a huge move down. That's why it looks so weird. You could technically maybe 382. Now, yeah, it's a little bit of a drop from where it's at, but it's not unrealistic. It's not crazy because we hit resistance, right? Sell resistance, buy support, sell resistance, buy until it break out or break down. Well, now it's squeezing, so that opportunity is getting smaller, 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 and smaller. The apex point here is October 25th. Of next year, or October 26th of this year on Sunday. So that's, I mean, you're literally looking at 3 Sundays from now is the apex. So you've got a real small window here. If you're looking to buy this and consolidate going into the breakout. Now, I don't want you buying resistance. I prefer support. You don't know if it's ever going to come back down here, but you're looking for support. So if you haven't bought yet, you're looking for this shakeout in the stochastic, maybe to come all the way back down to the floor. If you're watching to find, pay attention. Could be a bigger opportunity here. So just pay attention to this. Now, that would have to be a drop of something bigger. But everything is so massively overbought, we could head in that direction. Do I expect it? Not necessarily. What I would expect is a reformation at the 200 or the 20-day down here at about 425 to see how it's going to react. I think that would do enough, honestly. But then you're like, well, wait a minute, 425, that's actually above where it was at before this. Exactly. That's why every day you wait, even with the 5% drop, it's come up 10. So that doesn't even mean it's going to come all the way back down to where it was at when it first started this round, right? So now instead of thinking it's going to come back to 4, now it pushed from 4 on Thursday. Then it went up to here on Saturday. And now even on a back test, it's not even back to where it was on Saturday. Saturday, it was at 4.1. Now it's at 4.25, and it was at 4.14. So even on each layer, it's coming up higher. So that's why it's more, you're buying a formation here with the understanding by end of October of this month is the apex. So I think it's fucking awesome when you start watching it like that. Because then you're like, you know what? Who cares? I'm buying a rotation. I may not have bought it at X, Y, and Z, but I'm buying it at point A when it starts anew. I did see a super chat. I know I did. Frankie Fresh, thank you so much for the $19.99 donation. Also in Tom's Army for over 6 months. With the XRP predictor going above and beyond. Give Janine my love as well, Frankie. Your significant other. Well, you know that, but some of the audience might not. At least I hope you know it's your significant other. And I hope your hand's doing okay in your contraption this morning. He's dealing with his hand. Trying to get full range of motion back in his fingers and stuff. So he wears like a little device. Well, it's like kind of like a very in-depth brace. If you ever seen one, like if you break your fingers and your knuckles and stuff, it'll have your ligaments and everything put in the right spot so you have it in the prop. That's kind of what it reminds me of. It can't be the most comfortable, but he still pushes forward. He still stays true to his work and the crypto and everything he loves while trying to get back where he was once at. But that's years and years of, you know, working and using the hands. And when you get into your 50s and stuff, you know, things happen to the body. So we pray for you, Frankie. I do, especially as well. I can't go to church today to do the prayer because Julie's going to be leaving here shortly because she's got to go help her sister because her sister's getting married November 8th. So she's going to go over to her house for, like, I would say probably between 3 and 5, 6 hours. So if my son's awake, I'm going to do his feeding so Julie can not have to worry about it. I know it's her special thing, but I don't want her to have to rush back home to do it. So I'll do it if he's awake. What? I'm supposed to have my time with TT. Now he goes to sleep.
Well, he's been up sleeping.
Oh, yeah, he got up early, didn't he?
Like 6
I was just telling the audience I was going to do his feeding today so that you wouldn't have to rush back. Well, it looks like Daddy's going to have some alone time today, huh? Well, I could always do my workout. Keep the side door open because we're not going to be here Friday. Yeah, because we go to Grand Rapids on... Well, T won't be in school Thursday or Friday. We have to go do his button change for his G-tube and then make sure it doesn't need to be resized. This is an important one because he's starting to get a little bigger. So getting his weight and everything now that he's about 50 pounds and making sure... I think his... Do you think he's going to get resized, Julie?
Not yet.
You think we're good for one more? Yeah, I'm thinking too that he'll be good for one more, but it's not anything invasive. The one who does it is great up at Corwell, so we actually look forward to going there and talking to him and getting an update. The most stressful part was T going through this last week because he had the inner ear infection, trying to get through school and 2 doctor appointments. That was stressful. Next week's not so stressful for T. T does that like a trooper. He loves driving in the car. So, but yeah, so I thank all the support from everybody in the regard to when we're gone. I'll still be doing things like normal. You guys know at the hotel, it's the same one. They have a little spot where I can sit and it's like a conference room where there's a computer so I can look at the comments. Just drives me nuts because every 10 minutes I have to press the button or it logs you out. But I bring my tablet, so we're not missing nothing. But yeah, so there's that. Lions are on at 4:30 today. No, 4 o'clock today. Yeah, so it was a good weekend. It's a good weekend. Got to go to my dad's yesterday. He's traveling today for work. Got to see old Vincenzo. And even though we're not always in the same house, and I know some of the audience is like, don't do a collaboration with your brother. Well, I think it's within the language. He's my brother, so I'm going to end up... I was thinking about doing him in the call-in segment. He would just call in for 10 or 15 minutes, and then we could discuss some stuff. He could talk about the weather, too. I encourage you all to join his weather channel on Facebook. Like, it's next level. Especially if you're in Michigan or in the USA. Well, Michigan especially. But if you're in the USA... Michigan, snow forecast gold. He's almost up to 10,000 followers now. He's been picking up about 300 a day. But he's been doing this for almost 3 decades. If you hate him in crypto, he's the most accurate person you'll ever see with weather. He gets lots of comments, lots of stuff now. Especially when there's something going on. It's hard in the summertime, but a lot of different places are sharing his stuff now. Honestly, I'm not just saying this because he's my brother. He's the best person I've ever seen meteorologically. With definitions and all this shit. Like, this is what he should be doing. But yeah, he's picked up. He just got the 9,000 followers on 1 day ago. And he's already picked up another 300. So please show my brother some support in that regard. And when I have him on... for the collaboration, we're going to be talking a lot about his weather stuff too. So don't think it's just going to be crypto. He's very in-depth. So he's going to be a guest on my show. Whether you love him or hate him, he's my brother. So respect him. So you know how it goes. And if you want to run away, you run away. But I would encourage you to push forward towards his community. He does a spectacular job. Like, just spectacular. And the only reason he never went into meteorology is he didn't want to go through the schooling and be corrupted into that way, because you have to do things the way... You guys all know how it goes. Same reason I'm not a financial advisor. Same reason why I didn't go into mainstream. And I started doing it myself, because I don't want to be corrupted. And he does it in a different way. And I've been saying it since he started, when he started doing his crypto on YouTube. That's not his ticket. He's good at it. He's fucking phenomenal at it because he's good at charting. But his ticket, phenomenal at it because he's good at charting. Is the weather stuff. Like, that's next layer. So I'm going to share this with all of you. I encourage you to go to his Facebook, please. He does such an unbelievable job there. And he's on point. So, absolutely it does, Mr. Stott. Once you get... into the 16-hour range, every single... Well, it's more than that. 13 hours, 14 hours, your body starts to burn off. And you go into... You raise your... Why can't I think right now? You raise your... insulin levels and things like... But yeah, it absolutely does. I've been doing intermittent fasting for 16 hours a day. Going on... I've been doing it since November of 2021, or 22, and I have not missed a single day. So I've been doing it for 3 years now. But yeah, it helps with cellular, breaking down bad cells, production of good cells. But yeah, Mr. Stott, tons of good research on it. One of the things they'll try to tell you is that there's all this bad stuff, and it's all bullshit. Don't listen to the mainstream. Fasting's been going on for a long time before I started it. But yeah, I encourage you, go check out Aove Vincenzo. I've been playing ZBAC. As Define knows, I've been in and out of ZBAC. I wrote it on Saturday when it was in the consolidation up to this resistance, because I've been trying to see on TOOBIT the fees, and I gotta tell you, even doing a market order, I sold a market order and it was 2.7 million tokens. And when I sold the market order, it gave me the price higher than it was at. So on TOOBIT, I've been stunned when I've been buying and selling at high times of volatility how cheap the fees are. So make sure in the video description below under pinned comments, you go to TOOBIT. I don't know if I even put it on here today. I'll put it on it. But TOOBIT The fees are phenomenal. The only problem we ever had on BitUnix was if you did a market order, we felt like we'd get a little bit kicked in the dick. It's not like that on TOOBIT. I've been stunned. I even had to send messages to Defined about it. Like, dude, the fee scheduling here is it's ridiculous how cheap it is. Unbelievable. It's been unbelievable. So pay attention to that. It changed the game for me. So no, the short answer is no. Long answer is yes, because I've been playing this. Now, if it doesn't come all the way down to the 200 day, or if it comes back, I'm gonna have this a very large amount, no less than $1 million. But I played it at I had put $11,000 into it for that play up, and it was up like $500-600. And when I sold it, it sold it fucking phenomenally. And I did it as a market, guys, just to see how bad it was going to tap me, because I did it in limit and it was working fine. So I did it in market, and the way it filled was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. It was within $46 of the price it actually showed, and it filled all of the orders. So I had 11,560. When it filled it all in market, I still had 11,516. So it was about $44 below what it was showing on the screen. But you're talking about 2.7 million tokens, and it was in the highest time of volatility on the way when it hit this resistance. It was incredible. And the fees are almost non-existent in spot. It's unbelievable. So just as happy as I was with BitUnix, I feel fucking blessed beyond belief that it's like that. Right now, XRP is back testing the golden cross. 50 days already crossed the 200. The 100 days trying to cross 200. Nothing to worry about here right now. Even if it were to come to 285, nothing to worry about at this structure. It's actually doing exactly what we wanted it to do over the weekend. Perfectly. 100% on the money. Yeah, you couldn't ask for anything better. Even if you tried, you could not ask for anything better this weekend. I mean, you are absolutely getting exactly what you asked for. We need this. We needed this. More than you could ever even understand. We needed this. And it's supposed to be like this, because the way I did it was I played the resistance here. And then, yeah, these came over, but it pushed down. But this was a wick that came back, and then it pushed over and back and over and back. I like playing the wick points to try to force it over. That's why I did it like this. I think it's easy to see why that's like that. I accidentally moved it, so I have to make sure it's in the same spot. Otherwise, this isn't going to make sense on the back test, because this is supposed to be back testing right now, which it is. That's why the 298 is, remember we talked about 298 this morning? And if it doesn't hold it, what did we say? If it doesn't hold 298 and then you see it below 295, expect, well, not 295. If you get below here, you would expect 285, because then it would invalidate this part of the pattern. But right now, you're not expecting that. You're trying to see if we can hold this. So I'm XRP Future Millionaire. I'm having a blast, but I got to go. Julie's getting ready to leave. Thank you all so much for this morning. I really appreciate it. If there's more stuff you'd like to talk about, please join the Telegram. I'm not begging you, but join. It's an unbelievable thing. The newest episode, let's see if it comes out. The newest episode looks to be, is that, yes. So it looks like he's put it out. That's from October. Yeah, it's out today. So the Big House Reader's Digest, if you're part of it, I'll read one section, and this is the wisdom, because basically Defined asked me if I have anything to say every single week. So this is what I had him, that's what I said to him, and it's very important. So please stay for this. The weekly wisdom from our fearless leader, Tom XRP Future Millionaire. And this is under the Big House Reader's Digest, and this is episode number, I believe I said number 10, so I was right. Good for me. And our newest members, a warm welcome to Kryptons, Oma, Kay, Richard Wilson, Shaw, Jane, Edward, Kelly, Ladybird, JJ, James Family, and Mark. Thank you all so much for tuning in to here. And MQT was the special member of the week, but I don't want to give it away. You read through that. But I just want to read what was quoted from what I said. and it's pretty long because I put a pretty long comment back to him when he asked me. So this week the focus is on an important distinction, and think about what we talked today about the cycle that many traders and investors often overlook. The difference between a long hold and a cycle hold. While they may sound similar, their strategies, timing, and underlying purposes are fundamentally different. Understanding this distinction is crucial for making informed decisions in both bull and bear markets. A cycle hold is identified in real time based on the flow of the current market cycle. When you're pinpointing a cycle hold, the focus is largely micro-focused, analyzing shorter-term price movement patterns and momentum to strategically position yourself for a macro-level move. Essentially, you're looking for opportunities within the broader trend, taking advantage of temporary dips, consolidations, or swings that align with the larger market cycle. A cycle hold is tactical and reactive. It requires continuous observation and adjustment to optimize entry and exit points during the life of a market cycle. This is why it's important to stay tuned every single day. Maybe not just to me, but into the short-term to macro perspective. In contrast, a long hold takes a much broader perspective. This strategy is grounded primarily in a macro level analysis, assessing the overall macro outlook. And when we do long holds, I like to do it in the bear market. So like how Aove is in a bear market, Aove is in a bear market, V-Chain's in a bear market, Band's in a bear market, XTC's in a bear market, H-bar, I wouldn't necessarily classify it that way. Zill's in a bear market. IOTA, I don't know if I said it's in a bear market. Axelar's in a bear market. Dent's in a bear market. There's a lot in a bear market. So I like to accumulate in the bear market. So that's why the ones that I point to over and over, these are in bear market territory. So 90 to 95% from market, you know, they're where they, in my opinion, should be. So this strategy is grounded primarily in macro level analysis, assessing the overall market outlook, project fundamentals, and a long-term potential. A long hold often begins during bear market accumulation, exactly what we were just mentioning, where patient investors quietly build positions while prices are low. The goal here is not to chase short-term fluctuations, but to ride a significant and eventual breakout over months or even years. Remember XRP in 23 buying, getting a gift in May or June of 24, again at 38. But the goal was not to buy it at 34 and to sell at 75 or 95 or 87 or 62 or $1.10. Because it kept going from 35 to 97 to 48 to 72 to 55 to 69 to 48 to 97 to 38 to 58 to 7. The bottom line is, you were looking for the bigger breach, like the 10x move over 350, or like right now up 8x or 5x even from 1 year ago. You're looking for the more concise movements. So you took that under $1 as the accumulation area. Us, more preferably in this audience, sub 50 and 40, but it just depends where you bought. Even some in the audience were all the way. It just all depends when you started joining. So the goal here is not to chase short-term fluctuations, but to ride a significant eventual breakout over months or even years. Long holders are less concerned with daily market noise and more focused on the underlying strength of the asset and its position within the larger market cycle. In short, the difference comes down to the time, horizon, and perspective. Cycle holds shorter term, micro-focused, tactical, reactive to ongoing cycles, aiming to optimize gains with a specific market swing. Long hold, longer term, macro-focused, strategic, patient, aiming to benefit from fundamental growth and broader market trends. By clearly understanding the differences, you can better align your strategy with your goals, whether you're looking to capitalize on cyclical swings or patiently build wealth through long-term accumulation. Recognizing when a position qualifies as a cycle hold versus a long hold can dramatically improve your decision making and help you navigate both bullish and bearish phases with greater confidence. Have a blessed morning, everybody. I hope that helps. Road less traveled, the best way I can put this is mid-November into Q1 of 26 is what I've been targeting. So we're getting there. It's been a 9-month painful cycle here, but we're getting close. 10 months now, but we are close. The closer to November we get, the closer I get more and more excited. I'm starting to get more excited, as you can see. Maybe not, but more excited. Be blessed, everybody.